All right, so welcome back. We have Niko Castilleja with us today. We are so excited to have him join us for another episode of the Evolution of a Multifamily Investor. He's been crushing it, not only in his market out there in California, doing so much active real estate, but now they're crushing it across the country, again, with their flips, but here now with large apartment buildings. So Niko, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jason. Happy to be here. It's a great community, so I'm really honored to be here. So thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, we're psyched to have you. So again, why don't you give me a little recap on who you are, talk to me about it, the company, what you guys do, and what your, of course, through plan is of how you found yourself from single family space into multifamily today.
Well, thank you. That's a good question. Actually, I'm Niko Castilleja. I'm actually from Houston, Texas, but I grew up in East Texas when I was younger, and I moved to San Diego in 2001. And that's kind of how I got into, I guess, real estate, because transferring here with my job at the time in sales, I started to ask questions like, how are people making money out here? And I noticed real estate was the big thing. So I dug deep into that. And actually, believe it or not, that being said, the way I jumped into it was the job I was in at the time. I guess I was denied vacation time to go support my daughter in an event that she was in. And I guess at that moment, that was my aha moment, right? And I realized, like, wow, I'm 42 years old, asking permission to spend time with my family. And that night, I actually jumped on Craigslist, found a guy that was training wholesalers who needed to be there. So I called him up, and we had a conversation. He said he would train me, and I gave my notice the next day, my 2 weeks notice, and I never looked back. Didn't have a plan B. I was committed, and but the biggest part of it was my wife was my foundation, right? She's been my cheerleader the whole time, and that's kind of what allowed me to not stress about anything else, just be fully focused in what I needed to do, and that's how I took off, and I did well, and then through those relationships. I met with some other group, and we were doing about 200 flips a year, nothing but just networking with broker teams and agents, and they just led from one thing to another. And then from there, I met Jesse, and I sold him some properties as well during that journey. And I loved Jesse, and I loved his energy and his ability to try things, always thinking outside the box. I love his passion and his drive, and we just really synced really well. We both had, I guess, the same drive and vision, so we really aligned really well. So I was like, you know what, I want to work with this guy, and like I said, I was independent, so I just decided to work exclusively with Jesse, because why bother going through maneuvering other, going through the business? Because trust me, in the beginning, I met a lot of the wrong people that, it's just part of the business. Thank God I met them in the beginning of my journey, because I could have walked away a long time ago, right? And I just stuck it out, and I knew they were good people. I had a vision as to how I would want to run a business and how I would want to treat people, and just have those relationships with them. So, that was in 2019 with Jesse, and we've been there. We've been killing it. I know one of the things we always talked about was multifamily space, because I think with everybody, that's kind of like part of your evolution. So eventually, I guess, end up there. And so since then, that's what me and Jesse have been doing. We didn't know what we were doing in the beginning, but, we just kept educating ourselves, connecting with the right people, just like you guys, in the group, and learned so much, still learning so much. I'm still a student to this day. And but I've enjoyed the journey with the relationships that I've made. Okay.
So Niko, I gotta say, and we'll take it there, is like, that is so many times the precursor of success is just realizing that where you're at is not where you want to be, right? And you have this moment where you want to take time off, be with your family, and you're told no. And many times people just say, okay, no problem, right? And there's a certain point where you draw a line in the sand and you say, enough's enough. I'm making a change. And you go out there and you take action, right? You find the way. Like, oh, I'll go on
Mm-hmm.
Craigslist, right? There's no like, I guess Cliff Notes or no like push the easy button of just how to do it. You go on Craigslist, find someone, you go out there, you start taking action to learn, right? And do this. You get into 200 flips. You go now. You meet Jesse Trulio here. You're both here, part of our seven-figure multifamily mastermind family. You meet each other, find that there's common synergies, right, on where you both want to go into the process, and you keep asking the question of what's next and how do we do it. Well, we're just going to figure it out. We don't know everything. We don't know what we need to do, but we know we need to take action to figure out the questions to ask to get ourselves to the right steps. You start taking action, getting out there, doing flips. You're into multiple markets. You lead yourself into multifamily together, of course, and start taking action there. And you've now talked to us about some of the multifamily deals you've had across the board. What have you done? Like, what have been some of the deals you've done to date? Basically, in the last few months, you've done a lot.
Yeah, actually, we did close one in January. It was a 39 unit in Gainesville, Florida, with a member of the group as well. And we've got another one with some other entrepreneurs that actually we finally went into contract yesterday, I believe. It was a 72
Whoa.
unit in Zeno, Ohio. So I'm excited about that as well. But yeah, but again, I know in the beginning I just boldly said that my goal was 1,000 units, and I started to think about that for a while. Once I was in it, and I was like, wow, we need to get some systems in place. I mean, there's things you have to do rather than just blurt things out, but I still sent it out there, and right now we're close to 200 units right now since then. Even though that's just this year alone. Well, yeah, within the last 5 months, I'd say. So yeah, I think it's possible. I'm still sticking to it and see where I end up. And but again, these are all just relationship built, based, and they're just reaching out, just putting yourself out there, because people don't know who you are unless you start talking and just putting yourself out there and seeing if you could be of service in some way.
The best thing about everything you guys are doing is that you're just saying, we're just going to take action. And, right, you can say, oh, I want 1,000 units, but it's now you're putting action to the words, right? You're finding, where do we fit in? We're good at lead generation. We have the sponsor. We have the loan balance, right? We can go there and help on the capital side. So we have all these different advantages that we can bring to a partnership. And we're not trying to go a road alone, right? We're trying to work together with other partnerships, bring value where we can bring value, and also allow other people to be valuable where it is, right? And that's the biggest thing with multifamily, is that it is a team sport. It's a sport for us all to win together. And can we potentially get there by ourselves? Sure. But will it take us longer? Will there be more lessons to be learned? Will there be more hardships and more things that have to be uncovered because we're trying to do it ourselves? Yes, absolutely. But when we're there working as a team, working together, taking action to discover what needs to be done, look what happens. Closing deals, closing multiple deals in multiple markets here with different partnerships as you go forward. What has been some of the things here that now being a part of a bigger mastermind has afforded for you to really shorten the curve to your growth to now a couple hundred units under your belt?
Well, I think it's just the amount of information, the wealth of information in the group, because everybody has something to offer. It's just connecting the dots to make it happen, because it's one of those, that saying, teamwork makes the dream work. This is literally what that applies. And you just really just have to open up and just throw yourself out there, who needs what, or how can I be of service to you, or how can someone help you out? I mean, there's so many facets in this group that has opened my eyes, rather than just me trying to do everything on my own, right? Because you multiply yourself by making those connections. Instead of me doing one thing, you multiply with others. They're doing the work. They're bringing you deals, and I'd say that's been a big win for me. It's just really knowing markets a little better because of the members that are in those markets, because they've already done the research. So you've already got that set, and if they bring something along, then you're already halfway there. You just got to see, do the numbers work? Do they make sense?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I don't want to gloss over this point, as you've done a great job, of course, on building relationships. And you had this great post about how you're building relationships, how you're making connections here, how you're getting in front of brokers. So would you mind recapping part of that post of how you talked about creating relationships, deal generation, lead sourcing? What are some of the angles you had there as well?
Yeah, well, from my background, I guess it's like it's very it's kind of strange, but it's one of those things where it's just very people don't always gravitate to something so simple, but it's really just that simple. It's just really just reaching out to a broker, whether you comment them on Facebook or Instagram because they love to post things out there. It's just you're just commenting on what they're doing and what they're saying. Their work, you congratulating them, and you'll always get a response back. That's easier than just a cold call to me. And or just doing your research on them. If it's a broker, find out what have they sold or how many things do they have listed right now, and just reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, this is the type of asset we're looking for. Well, I know you sold this one. Unfortunately, that's what I really enjoy. If you ever come across something like that, it's just uh, breaking. It's really more. It becomes a warm call rather than a cold call to me. And
Yeah.
trust me, they'll call you, they'll talk to you, and they want to know what are you looking for. Because that's what they want. They want to make money, and the more investors they have, it increases their possibility of getting that sold. So,
What's great
and
about that is
again,
you're doing that little extra again, right? And so instead of saying,
yeah,
hey, Nico, I want to buy an apartment building. So you're saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Broker, I see you close in this type of transaction. I see you've been doing it. So you've been doing the work to understand what they do, right? So
yeah,
they know you've spent the time here. You're not just calling them out of blue and just saying, hey, bring me something. I know you've closed in this type of property. Again, congratulations on that. That's awesome. I'm here. I really like that type of property. If you find it, again, please let me know, right? You're putting in the work to, again, support the narrative. So it's not so much about just you, like, oh, what have I done? It's now, let me understand how you operate so I can best be a part of your world when you do have another transaction.
exactly. And I like to do that because trust me, they're going to look you up. They're going to see what have you really done at the same time. So I'm already preparing myself. So it leads to a better conversation, and you're already you have a connection, and it's
Yeah.
not always business. I always talk to them to see how they're doing, just to get to know them personally, not always business, because they're human too, human. So we want to have that human organic conversation with them.
It makes it easier too. I think when you
Yeah.
go into these conversations, sometimes it can be scary, right? And when you have, don't have the experience, you haven't done these deals yet, you think of these people with this barrier up. But just like you said, they want to close deals with you. They want to, of course, make it happen with you. I mean, this is how they make money, right? And so being personal, understanding who they are, being a person yourself instead of trying to make it a robotic conversation, it helps you, right? And now you have the energy, you have all the backing of the group here, you have the seven-figure multifamily mastermind of all these great people in there that are doing partnerships together that we could all speak collectively about all the great things happening in the group, all the great things that you two and you, the team, are doing, and just how you're looking to expand your network and expand your horizons to get to these 1,000 units here. So what's ahead of you now? How do we track from these 200 plus units to this 1,000? What's that milestone look like as we head forward?
It's looking amazing. I'm actually currently working about, I'd say about 200 plus units right now.
Love
They're
it.
separate units, but they total about 208. Are they going to work? I don't know, but they're brought to me and they look good. It's just, I just got to finalize the numbers and see if it's something that works out. But trust me, it's one other thing is I know we all want to make these connections, but at the same time, be prepared or be careful what you wish for because I get calls every day, I get leads every day, So I mean, I'm enjoying that, but at the same time, you have to really be prepared to be able to handle that because
Yeah.
these are relationships. You don't want to miss out on those. You want to answer back and everything and just follow up because it's like I almost don't need to look for deals. They're coming to me daily. It's just, but it helps the numbers game curve, right? But again, it's very very important that you at least make those relationships, And so yeah, I'd say I'm looking at 200 right now. There's really I can see me hitting 1,000 easily, to be honest with you. At least that's what I'm putting out there. It's bold, but I think it's achievable. And because from what I see now, um, it's just making it's just making sure that that they pan out. But as far as the deals, they're there. I mean, they're out there. At least I see
I
them
don't
every
think it's
day.
going to happen. I know it's going to happen with you, right? And that's the part is you've now laid down the track and you have the steps and process, just like everything you've done in your past, is that you come up with idea of what you want to do, and when you do it, you create an action plan of how it can be replicated, right? It's one thing to do it once, it's another thing to do it multiple times, right? You don't build a massive flipping business in multiple markets doing hundreds and hundreds of properties here by just getting lucky and just trying it out and hoping it works out, right? You build a plan, you build a system, and now you've taken that into the multifamily world. You say, okay, I need to get more leads. Well, when these leads come, what do I do with these leads, right? Because I don't want the leads just fall on me, right? And so now you've had a reach out program, you've had a follow-up program, you have leads coming in where you're saying that you have more leads than you can take on, which is awesome, right? There's a lot of people saying there's no deals out there. Well, Niko's finding the deals. How is he finding the deals? Well, he's put the energy out, he's putting the work in to get in front of these opportunities, but now when they come, maximizing on the opportunities in front of him, maximizing to make sure that when it's there, he's prepared, so him and the team can carry forward to get to the 1,000 units that is closer in the horizon, I know, than Niko probably even knows because of what you guys are doing here. So, awesome job.
Thank you. Yeah, it's work, but I mean, I show up every day. That's the thing. You got to show up and you got to stay focused. You know, you got to be true to your word and what you're going to do that day, and just stick with it. It's easy to be distracted, but I think one thing that it's taken me a while, but it's like I like to say that I'm a pretty good master at being focused. You know, and it took a while to get there, but that's the only way I'm going to be able to achieve those things. But you know, you also got to take care of yourself as well. You got to take the time to work out, eat well, meditate more than anything. Just meditate. You got to quiet that mind to stay focused, and but that's kind of like what I do every day. So.
Well, thank you for bringing it full circle. I mean, love the story of everything, focusing on family first, focusing on you and family, into how that's led you to real estate, and even bringing it on the back end here, how taking care of yourself helps the evolution of where you're going together. Because again, if we're doing this all for naught, where's it going, right? And so, Niko, thank you so much for sharing your story. Can't wait to see you, of course, in a couple of weeks again. And in that fact, for everyone listening, what's the best way to learn more about you, the team? How's the best way to find you?
Yeah, best way to find me, you can find us on www.hixholdings.com, or you can just reach me at my phone number at 619-361-9668. I'm here available to be of service in any way, and hopefully we can connect and take some deals down together.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have Niko on the show today. Another series of the multifamily, evolution of the multifamily investor here, leading up again to Nashville, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We're going to have multifamily live. All the great people like Niko is going to be there with us at the event. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you shortly.
Thank you, Jason.